Well, good evening and welcome to something that is I think, what we can describe as a beautiful Sunday. A great Sunday after a pretty decent weekend, guys, hasn't it? It's been a pretty spot on weekend here in this country of ours, isn't it? Guys, I can't stop smiling after today. Obviously, that lot from across the city went and definitely ballsed it up today, didn't they? I'm loving. I've been since I got home from work. I've been scrolling Twitter, I've been scrolling TikTok, and I've been loving the "Live It Up" soundtrack behind the Kilmarnock goals. It's been pretty spot on, guys, and pretty funny as well. We'll talk about all that in a moment. We'll talk about the weekend's results. We'll talk about Rangers' performance on Saturday. We'll look ahead a little bit to Thursday, and we're also obviously going to tell you as well what is upcoming on the channel this week. We've got live streams galore. We've got 2 game live streams. I'm going to advertise those to you. I've also got a podcast with a very special guest. I'm going to introduce my special guest to you as well. She's not on tonight, but she will be on Tuesday night, so look out for that. Stuart, good evening Bears, evening Stuart, how are you doing? Callum, I could not agree more. It is a beautiful Sunday, isn't it? It is a spot on Sunday. Apologies if you can see the dog's head bobbing around in the background. Stuart says, come on the killie, lol. Yeah, Derek McInnes certainly celebrated, didn't he? Like an Aberdeen fan after a game against Rangers. Get it to a 2-point gap, looking good for the 30th. We have to win all the games until the January break, says Callum C. Callum, you are spot on, brother. We are going to talk about that as well. League is defo back on. Brenda will be shitting his pants, Stuart. I think that is 100% true. Hopefully they just keep dropping points. Stuart, you know what? I've said it all season. Go back and watch any of my videos when I've talked about that a lot from across the city. This is not the Celtic of the last 2 years. This is not Ange Postecoglou's Celtic. This is not the relentless machine that was Ange Postecoglou's Celtic. This is a weaker Celtic team, a team that has faults, a team that can be got at, a team that can be beaten, something that's been proven this season by Kilmarnock now. It's something that we have to follow up on the 30th of December at Sharkhead. Blue Nose John says, good evening, Owen, and all the teddy bears in the chat. We need to stop relying on Killy to be Tim scalpers and do it ourselves on a much more consistent basis. I couldn't agree more with you, John, and it has to start, doesn't it, on the 30th of December. We've got a comment from Stuart. 31st December, Brenda sacked after falling behind us in the league. I hope not, Stuart. I hope he isn't sacked. I hope he's there till the end of the season. Evening to RFC 72. 5 points to fight is on, says Geordie. It certainly is, Geordie, isn't it? George says, good evening, troops from Colne in Lancashire. Good evening, George. How are you doing tonight, buddy? Hope all is good. What's my dog's name? My dog's name is Shadow. That's his name because he's a black Labrador, so his name is Shadow. Long story. Duncan, new name in the live chat. Duncan McCurriture, welcome. Then across the city, keep slipping up. We take advantage now. We certainly do. You know what? One thing that kind of came to me today when I saw that result, you know, I actually didn't realize I was at work, and I've been at work since 7 o'clock this morning, and I came home and it was only when I came home and I looked at my messages and things like that. I then went on and looked and was like, oh my God, they got beat. Oh wow, that's fantastic. Really did make my day after what had not been a great day. I had to go and drive around this horrible city called Birmingham. Guys, you know, Birmingham, it's an absolute dump. We have to win on Thursday night and bring the Viaplay Cup back to Ibrox where it belongs, says Stephen Moorhead. Stephen, you are right. This is a massive week for Rangers, a huge week for the club, isn't it? You know, with the leg one down, I think what's interesting, guys, I don't know if you agree with this. Feel free to disagree, but they're in a title race this year and they know it's a title race because they're panicking because Clermont is serious. This is a game where, you know, that game yesterday, we go 1-0 down. Under Michael Beale, I don't think we come back, or we might get a 1-1 draw. But I honestly think that us winning yesterday, cutting that gap and putting the pressure on them, they can't handle it. How many out of the last few years, apart from the 55 season, have we put pressure on them? Have we genuinely made them feel that there's a title race on, that we can get them? And I think finally this season, we have got a situation where we have got a title race. We have got us coming after them. That result was a shot in the arm. I hope the players feel the same way, says John. Absolutely. And you know what? Like I said, it makes the Aberdeen result a little bit more frustrating, guys. If we could have just got a goal in that Aberdeen game, just think about how much closer that league would be now. Hi, Owen. Fine here. I was at the game yesterday. The red card spoiled what could have been a great game. George, it's what I said on the reaction video. It's what I said on the live stream yesterday. The ref made the game all about him. He ruined the game. 110% ruined it. Absolutely. Kyogo's not looking good under Brenda. He isn't. He's an Ange boy, isn't he? He loves a bit of Ange. I've got a feeling if we go ahead, the board will think everything's good and no, do nothing. Callum, the only thing I'd say about that is I don't think Philippe Clement will allow them to do that. And I think Philippe Clement will be seeking those reassurances that in January he will still have money to spend and he will still be able to bring in the striker that he wants and possibly a left back as well and possibly a winger. I do think that there will be a real drive from Clement and Niels Koppen, I think, as well, to get the players they want. I cannot see Philippe Clement settling for the squad as it is now. I really can't. Let's have a look. 2 big games and we're down to the bare bones. This is where Rangers heroes are made. Nicholas, you are spot on. We are down to the bare bones now, aren't we? We are really struggling for midfield players with Raskin out, with Jack out, with Lawrence out. Sifu probably could be suspended for the final unless we appeal it. So, yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. So we've got Kevin saying that they miss Maeda. Dezan Maeda, who looks like a psychotic prison camp guard. Absolutely. So what else have we got? I agree 100% with this comment yesterday. Father Clancy was ridiculously bad yesterday. You know, I've seen some ridiculous comments today, some utterly ridiculous comments made. It's interesting, isn't it? You know, Rangers get a penalty yesterday and it's suddenly not a penalty because obviously the rules of football don't apply to Rangers. So, look, the rules of football are so clear. It's so clear, right? I've done a refereeing qualification. I'm a qualified ref. I've reffed games. Yes, not at top level. I only reffed at like, you know, Sunday League and kids games. And I've refereed, obviously, teenagers and stuff like that. But the rule is simple. If you pull someone's shirt in the box, it is a foul. If it is a foul in the box, it is a penalty. Yes, and I hate this word, soft penalty. There's no such thing as a soft penalty. It's a penalty or it isn't a penalty. It's not a soft penalty because there's not a hard penalty. Okay. It's a penalty or it's not a penalty. Okay. Even you can't really even have a stonewall penalty. It's a penalty or it's not a penalty. Okay. There's no such thing as a stonewall penalty to a referee. There's no such thing as a soft penalty. It is a penalty or it is not a penalty. That is the decision to make. Okay. Whether it's soft, in your opinion, whether it's a stonewall in your opinion, it's still a bloody penalty. And what amazed me is you've got people coming out yesterday and saying, oh, it's not a penalty. It's not a penalty. It's not a penalty because Seema pulled his shirt as well. It's not a penalty. It's not. I'm sorry, but if the ref sees that Donnelly has pulled his shirt, then it is a penalty. Now, one thing that gets me is that these managers, Barry Robson, Stephen Naismith, Tony Doherty, are all coming out and criticising VAR, which, yes, has a lot of issues. I get that. VAR has a lot of issues, and that's a whole different podcast. And not condemning the people they should be condemning. Why are they not having a go at their stupid defenders? If that was Connor Goldson, John Suter, Ben Davis, Leon Balogun in the box, in the case of the Hearts game, in the last 5 minutes of the game, in the case of the Aberdeen game, in the last minute of the game, in the case of yesterday's game in the first half when we've been tied back to 1-1, if that's Goldson or Suter or Davis or Balogun and they pull someone's shirt in the box, I'm raging at them. Not at the referee for giving a penalty. I'm raging at any of those 4 names because they were stupid enough to pull someone's shirt in the box. It's as simple. You don't pull shirts. The moment you pull a shirt, you can give away a penalty if it's spotted by VAR or if it's spotted by the ref. And Michael Stewart, Neil Lennon, all these idiots, Chris Sutton coming out and saying it's a soft penalty or it's typical, another penalty to Rangers. They're talking out the tops of their heads. And what gets me is the fact that Neil Lennon and Chris Sutton played football. Now, if Chris Sutton had his shirt pulled in the box, he would be screaming for a penalty as a striker. So I don't understand where that comes from other than a total biasness against Rangers. It's ridiculous, utterly ridiculous. And then today we see Johnston on the line basically do a Joe Hart, save the ball on the line, and nothing is given. VAR doesn't even look at it. And you've got Scott Brown sitting in the studio with his Celtic glasses on saying it's never a penalty. Yet you've got James McFadden and Chris Boyd both saying it's a penalty because it's hit his arm. Whether, again, it's a soft penalty or a stonewall penalty, it's a penalty because the rule states that if you gain an advantage from using your arm, it is a penalty. Even if it's not a deliberate handball, even if it is a hand that gains you an advantage, the goal has to be ruled out. It's the same as the Arsenal goal that was ruled out in the Villa game yesterday. I don't know if any of you saw that. But Kai Havertz handballs the ball, it bangs off his arm, drops for him, he then puts it in the net. He gains an advantage from that handball. Therefore, it is a free kick to Aston Villa. It's the same as today. Johnston hits his arm, he gains an advantage from it, therefore it has to be a penalty under the rules. But, of course, the Celtic fans are there going to say, the Chris Suttons, the John Hartsons, the Scott Bruns are going to say, it's not a penalty. It's not a penalty. It's not a penalty. Of course, it's a penalty. Duncan McCarricher makes a brilliant point here. He says, all games to the winter break are cup finals. Absolutely. All the way up to that winter break, we have to win every single game. And you know what? I've got a lot of English friends who don't follow Scottish football at all. And when they hear me talk about Rangers and they hear me talk and say, we've got to win every game between now and the new year, they go, are you mental or something? You know, are you crazy? Your teams don't win every game. And I'm saying, yeah, but we're Rangers. It's different. We do win every game. That's how it's expectancy. Up here, in Scotland, Glasgow Rangers are expected to win every game. So that's just a fact. That is a fact. Dowell could come back into midfield as RFC 72. I don't know what's going on with Kieran Dowell. I really don't. RFC 72. I don't know what's going on with him at all. You know, it doesn't add up for me. There's something not quite right at all, is there, with what is going on with Dowell? You know, what is the situation with Dowell? The manager comes out and says that he's training to his maximum. He's trying really hard in training. Yet we are criminally short of central midfield players. We haven't got any. You know, we could have a situation where in the cup final we put Dujon Sterling or Leon King as a holding centre midfield player because there really is no one else. But we drop Cantwell back and I play, God help us, Sam Lammers in the 10 role. You know, it is a situation where I don't understand what it is about Kieran Dowell that the manager doesn't like, or what Kieran Dowell has done to completely eradicate his opportunity of actually playing first-team football at Rangers. You know, he looked okay when he's played. I mean, that goal against Livy was very good that he scored at the start of the season at Ibrox. You know, I don't know what it is with Kieran Dowell at RFC. I really don't know what it is with him. Big week for us in Europe and the final. Let's do this. Treble on the card, says Callum. I hope so. Callum, I hope so. Anyone hear what Michael Stewart said about the penalty? Absolutely funny. That's what I was saying. RF72. You can't have such a thing as a soft penalty. It's a penalty, or it's not a bloody penalty. There's no such thing as, you know, there's no such thing as it's not it's a soft penalty. It's whatever. It's a penalty. I was further away than the ref and seen it happen. That was a penalty. Ha ha. How Clancy never is ridiculous. Well, Clancy didn't, because at the end of the day, he was wearing a Celtic shirt underneath his referee's top, wasn't he? That's the truth of the matter, isn't it? That is the 100% truth of the matter. We all know that Clancy's a Celtic fan, and he'll probably get the Celtic Rangers game. Absolutely, he probably will get the Celtic Rangers game. What else have we got? Let's quickly there's more comments. They got a penalty against Motherwell for the pulling tap. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that's ironic about this whole situation. Oh, God. Sorry about that. Just sending the link to someone and clicked on the thing on my channel. Yeah. So yeah, pulling. Yeah, absolutely. Stephen Fay, welcome, Stephen. How you doing tonight, buddy? Our players could have their leg broken in the box, and the whole of Scotland would still say that's not a penalty. You know what? I agree with you. You know, I can't remember who made this comment yesterday, but somebody said yesterday on the channel, on the live stream, you know, all of our players could get decapitated in the box, and at the end of the day, it would not be a penalty. Absolutely, absolutely. Chris Boyd said that Johnston will have parts gloves on the second half. That was quality. Yeah, it was really funny. Sutton got himself sent off on purpose against us. He's a shite bag, best ignored. Yep, agree. Deflection and propaganda, because they have the most penalties. They do. They have had more penalties than us. That's the ironic thing. Geordie's got I'm feeling it playing. Evening Gallant, how you doing, buddy? Gary says it's because they can't score all their penalties and think Rangers getting them is a conspiracy. Absolutely. Robert says I've got the wrong friends. Sometimes that myself, Robert. Killy Stadium playing Hey You with a sad face tune and taking the yeah, they were, weren't they? Live It Up was being played at the end. I don't know if you've heard that. It's on X. If you go on X or Twitter or whatever the hell it's called these days, then yeah, it's all on that. You can see it. They are playing Live It Up at the end of the game. Well done, brother McInnes, says Ian Dill. Gary says, first we have to see what the players are available for the final, but regardless of who plays, we should be winning it. Of course we should. It's Aberdeen, and we're a better team than Aberdeen, even though they have taken 4 points off us this season. Nicholas says, now we will see if the biscuit tin gets prized open because they don't need to strengthen for Europe. Absolutely. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at these last couple of comments, and then we're going to look at some other bits and pieces here. Clancy and his blueprint for Rangers always comes into play. Absolutely. And anti-Rangers bias in the media is shocking. It absolutely is. It's ridiculous, the comments that go out against us, isn't it, John. Lewis Mayo was loving it at the end. He was, wasn't he? Absolutely, absolutely. Lovely Killy Pie tonight, says Aldo. Nice one, Aldo. Always cheated, never defeated. Sounds like a piss poor, says Darren. Not welcome, Darren. Yeah, we can do this. We can do this. Now, we look at this weekend. I mean, this weekend, the results have fallen nicely, haven't they? I mean, weekend results, obviously, Motherwell 1, St Johnstone 1, Aberdeen 2, Hearts 1. Unfortunately, Aberdeen did win and come back and win. So it puts them in a little bit of form going into the cup final. Miovski scoring again. I'm going to talk more about the cup final closer to the end of the week. That's when I'm going to talk more about the cup final. I will preview the cup final in full towards the end of the week. Livy 0, Hibs 1, St Mirren 2, Ross County 0. St Mirren back on winning ways. Our 3-1 win with that joke of a red card, obviously, against us. And Killy 2, Celtic 1. It looks fabulous, doesn't it? It looks really good and really nice, that result, there. So, look at the league table, guys. I'm going to pull the league table up in a minute, and we're going to have a quick look at the league table, because I'll tell you something. It's looking a lot better than it has done in a long, long time. And, Celtic will deflect as much as they want. But I'll tell you something. They're feeling the pressure this season. They know that Philippe Clement is getting a tune out of this pretty average squad. I mean, that's something to say. I mean, this squad ain't great, is it? I mean, let's face facts. It's not a great squad. Okay, there are a lot of players in this team with questionable attitudes who are perhaps not up to the task. He is getting a tune out of them. I mean, Cyril Dessers even scored yesterday. I mean, that for me is pretty damned incredible, that he's getting Dessers to score goals. That's pretty amazing that Cyril Dessers is even putting the ball in the back of the net on 6 goals this season. It's not too bad at all. So let's have a look at the league table tonight. We'll ignore 3rd to 12th. We're not really interested in that. But let's have a look at it. 1st and 2nd now. Celtic obviously sit top with 17 games played, 42 points. We sit 2nd, 16 games played, game in hand on them, 37 points. Now, our game in hand, we win that game in hand, that's down to 2 points. We could go to Sharkhead only 2 points behind them, and then they are going to start to feel the pressure. Absolutely. We can't keep slipping Celtic drop points a few times now. We need to close the gaps. As older, we do, absolutely. We do need to close the gap. We need to make sure that now, whenever they slip up, we get our foot in the door and we don't let them slam that door shut again. We keep our foot in that door and we keep pulling on that door and we keep pushing the door. Absolutely, Aldo. Owen put Sterling into right back and Tav right-hand side midfield. That's an interesting suggestion, Ian. I think I've heard a lot of great suggestions, brilliant suggestions about, using this player here, that player there. The only thing is that Philippe Clement, I don't think will, because, I heard Maurice Ross talking today, and he was talking about possibly playing 4-5-1 away at Betis. But Philippe Clement himself said that he's not getting the training time to work with the squad, to try things out, to see Seema as a central striker. If he's not getting the training time to play with these, to see what these different shapes look like, to see players in different positions, to see it Tav at right midfield and Sterling at right back, to see Seema through the middle, I just don't think he's going to risk it. Not in games where there is so much riding on it. We might see it in the Dumbarton game. We might see it in a league game against Livy or Ross County or St Johnstone or someone like that, or Kilmarnock at Ibrox. But we're not going to see it, I don't think, in the heat of battle in Seville, and we're not going to see it in the heat of the battle at Hampden on Sunday. I think he'll very much go tried and tested as much as he can. He is lacking in options massively. I mean, if you look up front, there is Kemar Roof, but as he said himself, Roof's not ready to play 90 minutes, so it's going to have to be Dessers, whether we like it or not. Either that or it's going to have to be Sam Lammers. Well, none of us want to see Sam Lammers play up front on his own, because that would be just a disaster waiting to happen. Central midfield, you've got Cifuentes and you've got Lundstrom at the moment. Obviously, Bailey Rice seems to have fallen out of favour. For some reason, isn't getting an opportunity to play. Dujon came on and did well yesterday, I thought. So there's there's lots of different options, but I don't think he's going to experiment too much, because he's not getting time to really experiment on the training ground and use these people on the training ground. Ewan, how you doing, buddy? Hi there, Owen and Troops. Been a good weekend so far. Good result for us. And the Mankey meltdown was brilliant. Absolutely, Ewan. We all love a Mankey meltdown. A draw will suit us, says Callum. I think he means in the Sharkhead game. Let's just stay humble. Take one game at a time. One game at a time. That mob are there for the taking. Kyle, is that you or is that Philippe Clement? Because that's what he says, isn't it? One game at a time. 1 week at a time. 1 month at a time. And you know what? It's looking more and more like what Philippe Clement said in his press conferences, his introductory press conferences and all the conferences he's given. This is a marathon, not a sprint, and there's no point sprinting now because your legs won't hold up. This is a case of, I think it's a marathon, not a sprint. We keep going till the very end. We are Rangers. We keep on going. We never give up. We fight till the end, and we hopefully will come out on top at the end of the day. Robert Biddy says, Kyle, well said. Absolutely. It's a game at a time, guys. There's no point projecting forward to Sunday or projecting forward to the 30th of December. We take each game as it comes. We win each game, and then we move on to the next. We stack the wins. What I want to see this Rangers team doing as of now is getting back to how it used to be under Walter Smith, under Graham Souness, under Dick Advocat, when we stacked wins. We stacked wins. We'd win not 4 in a row and then draw, 3 in a row and then lose. We'd win 12, 15, 18, 20 games in a row. Just keep reeling off those victories. And Philippe Clement has spoken about that. He says machine, machine, machine. That's what we need to be. We need to be a winning machine. And even when that machine is not functioning at its highest functionality, we still need to be winning. Aldo says 8 minutes added on by the ref, trying his best. He was. They always do, Aldo. They always do. What's to say they don't drop more points before we get to the Stade de Gad? Absolutely. They could do. It's every possibility they could drop more points. At the end of the day, they've got Hearts next weekend, which won't be an easy game at Tynecastle for I think it's Tynecastle they're playing at. So they've got Hearts next weekend. I'm fairly sure it's Hearts they've got next weekend. I'll have a quick check. I'll have to type Hearts into the search engine because I just can't even bring myself to type Celtic into the. I struggle to say their name if I'm being honest. But I was told by someone if I want to sound more professional, I have to say Celtic. Oh no, it's at Parkhead. They've got Celtic. I've got them at Parkhead. Clancy is not refereeing according to the rules. When referees make his decisions are completely arbitrary. And this was proven by the 2 shirt pulling incidents. Robert, that's a good shout. I'm glad you brought that up. Now, let's just touch on those 2 shirt pulling incidents for a moment yesterday. It really does show the biasness of Kevin Clancy yesterday. There was that incident on halfway where is it Lammy, the guy who plays for Dundee, is basically ripping Cyril Dess's shirt off him. And it's a free kick. Yes, we get the free kick, but nothing else. Not even a talking to, nothing. Then literally a minute later, Borna, yes, goes around the net, but he still pulls the shirt. That's what he's booked for. But why is it that's a booking, but that's not a booking? I don't understand the inconsistency there of Kevin Clancy. Ian wants to start with Roof on Sunday. It will be very interesting to see if that happens, buddy. That will be very interesting. That will be very, very interesting. Good shout from Stuart here. A few quality signings in January can turn the table now for sure. I think you're right, Stuart. We really do need to go out and get a centre forward, a winger, and a left back. I think if we can go and address those 3 positions, we've got enough everywhere else to cover till the summer. I think that is key for me. Get a winger, get a centre forward who scores goals, and get a left back because I think Weird Van's going to be off in January. Borna was atrocious yesterday. Again, so negative. I don't know how many times he got to halfway and he did that little U-turn thing that he loves to do. It was just crazy, wasn't it? Absolutely crazy. Will the board back Clement? I think they will. Given what was said at the joke of an AGM, given how strong a character and strong a personality is Aldo, I do think that the board will back Clement fully in January and give him what he wants. I think he'll have a budget. I think he'll know that. And I think he'll be happy. He's a manager who will accept that. But I do think he will have a list of demands. And I think the board will have to fulfill them. What kind of team we put out on Thursday? Cup final more important. So what kind of changes will PC make? I don't think he'll make any Alberts, the 11, the legend. I think he will play his strongest possible team. Why do I think he'll play the strongest possible team? Because, 1, he hasn't got many options because of all the injuries. 2, he wants to win every game. I just can't see him putting out a team that could possibly get beat, that could possibly not do its very utmost to get the win for Rangers. I just think at the end of the day, he will put the strongest team out on that he can on Thursday. The team will probably be something like, obviously suspensions, injuries, whatever, Willing, Butland, Tav, Goldson, Davis, Barisic, Lundstrom, Cifuentes, McCausland, Cantwell, Seamer, Dessers. I think that will be the team that will go to Seville on Thursday. I can't see him resting people. Cannot see him resting people at all. That's just not his way, is it? He wants to win every single game. Absolutely. RFC 72 says it says we'll say Dessers, the first half was actually not too bad. Second half was a shambles. That I agree. RFC 72, he was he was not very good. He was good. He worked hard. He tried to link the play up. His goal showed good battling and fighting spirit. And you guys know what I think of him. You know what I think of him. But I do think that he tried hard. Second half, his hold up play was poor. His heading was poor. He didn't really give us an out ball at times. He was not good in the second half. And that chance, when he does brilliantly to rob Shaughnessy, that's what he was kind of brought in for, that ability to high press and pickpocket defenders. But you just see when he goes through on goal, there's just no confidence there that he's going to finish. And he doesn't have any confidence in himself that he's going to finish. I honestly think if that's Abdallah Sima, if that's Sima robbing Shaughnessy and going in on goal, there's only one place that ball's ending up. It's in the back of the net. If it's Cantwell, I think there's only one place that's ending up. It's in the back of the net. I just think he massively, massively lacks confidence. On Sunday, get a good 45 minutes out of Roof, says Ian Dill. Could be a possibility, especially obviously with the European game on Thursday. Watersmith did it with a few changes after the French manager knackered it. Only 2 or 3 can change it. Winning teams, says Aldo. Absolutely. After PLG messed up our team for us. One game at a time is the right attitude, in my opinion, says Stephen Fay. It is, Stephen. It is. It's Philippe Clement's attitude, isn't it? It's a one game at a time. Nobody gave us a chance away to Dortmund, and we gubbed them. We can do this on Thursday. And that is a brilliant shout. I hadn't even thought of that, actually. That hadn't even occurred to me today when I was thinking about this. Look, we are poor in Spain. As I said, I released the video earlier, guys. I don't know if you've seen the video yet. If you haven't seen the video, check it out after the pod. Not that one. That's a preview of something coming up. This one here. Here we go. Time to end the pain in Spain. I released this earlier, guys. And look, our record in Spain is absolutely appalling. Since the turn of the century, we haven't won a game in Spain. The best result we've got is a draw, which I think was against Villarreal. Our last win in Spain was in 1972 when we won the Cup Winners' Cup final. That's the last time we won on Spanish soil. That's pretty mental, if you ask me. That is the last time we actually managed to win in Spain. We will not have to have games in hand after next weekend as we're playing in the cup final. We will have the 2 games in hand, won't we? Yeah, absolutely, 2 games in hand on them next weekend. Europa Conference League midweek football could cause us trouble in March. Midweek football, although you're spot on, that's why I don't want to play in the Conference League. And I think if we do drop to the Conference League, let's put some of the young lads in, give them an opportunity. Let's see Bailey Rice, Zach Lovelace when he's fit, Cole McKinnon, Leon King, Dujon Sterling, Adam Devine. Let's see some of these younger lads, Robbie McCrory. Look, I understand what some fans say about the Conference League, that they feel we've got a chance to do well in it. Yes, possibly, but you've got teams like Villa in there who are currently 3rd in the EPL. You've got, I don't know who the Dutch teams are, but there is some strong teams in the Conference League. Yeah, I don't know who it is. Top of my head, I don't know, because I don't pay a great deal of attention to the Conference League. But there's some strong teams in there. I just think at the end of the day, for us this year, it's got to be a situation where we concentrate on domestic trophy. Villarreal are in they're in the Europa League. But, we've got to concentrate on the league, on the Scottish Cup. For me, I would much rather the bulk of our squad and the bulk of our effort goes in to trying to win domestically this season rather than the Conference League. I really do hope that happens. On Clancy, he showed himself for what he is, a head knock. In the second half, he ran into the Dundee player first. His skillet mask slipped in their big style. Every game is important, Nicholas. You are spot on. Every game is important for Rangers, but not the Conference League. Your face will be raging on Sports Scene tonight. Sour face will be raging. He will be, absolutely. Ex-Ranger Lee McCullough intimated today that Shankland is a done deal, 1.2 million. You know what, Ian? It is an interesting one, isn't it? It is a name that vastly divides the fan base. I don't really want to get into Shankland tonight, but it is a name that vastly divides the fan base. I've got fans commenting on my content saying, yes, get Shankland in. I've got fans commenting, we don't want Shankland, he's too old, or he's not good enough, or he won't score goals for us, or he's not used to playing against a low block. Look, Shankland is a goal scorer. That's a fact. He scores goals, right? Will he score goals for us? Well, probably. At the end of the day, you look back at some of the Scottish strikers we've had that have been effective in Scotland, but not so effective in Europe. Chris Boyd, a prime example there. Look, at the end of the day, Shankland, I don't know. It's a tricky one. We'll discuss it on another pod. I don't think I'm going to get into that debate tonight. Something more important than Thursday, Ian? Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Blue Nose says, I think Brenda will walk if he's not sacked. They're bored Only think of project signings, possible. Yeah, Brendan does like to splash the cash. Look at what he did at Leicester. Look at what he did at Liverpool. A win on Thursday will carry Rangers to a win on Sunday. Big dog momentum, absolutely, buddy, absolutely. You know what? Winning breeds winning. Winners breed winners. It's 100% true, my friend. It speaks volumes for Clement that he apologised to Clancy after the game, despite the fact he was awful. No, I didn't actually know that, Robert. That's a new one to me. We were unbeaten under Clement. Wonder how long we can go. Hopefully, end of the season, 60 million Champions League money. Let's hope so. Let's get in that Champions League. Robert says Roof is a better option up front on Thursday. That's a good shout, actually. That is a good shout. Against the Spanish teams, it could well be. We'll need pace to get in before. Pace to get in behind them. Roof's got a bit more pace than Dessers. He's not lightning, but he is quicker than Dessers. I'm driving to Seville, leaving tomorrow. Well, safe journey, big dog, when you head out there. Being honest, I don't really care about Europe right now. The final and winning these next league games is the most important. RFC 72, I have to say, I agree with you. I think it is going to be, it's much more important, especially with half the squad out, correct, with all these injuries. I think if we had Jack, we had Lawrence, we had Raskin all fit, we had Danilo fit, we had a full squad to pick from, then fine. You know, let's just go for it and really try. But I do think that there is an element this season that has to be focusing on domestic football for me. Definitely. Callum says 12 games unbeaten. Nicholas says I'd rather win a European trophy than a domestic one, though. Interesting, controversial. Ross Clark says Shankland is a no-brainer. Rangers Loyalist says it's Rumourville. Puts the ball in the net, 40 in 76 for Hearts. That's certainly a very prolific record. Would turn our draws into wins. And it is the draws more than defeats that have put us behind, isn't it, really? I mean, you think about the Aberdeen game. We take one of those chances. We win 2-1. We've got 2 more points. We're only 3 points behind them. With the game in hand, we go even. And then it's all to play for. Absolutely all to play for. Games that Rangers aren't in can be important too, says KW. I've been saying since Shankland was at Ayr United, we should sign him. He would have cost buttons back then. I think that comes down to our awful scouting, Blue Nose. I think it really does, mate. It really does. Chance to go into 2024 top of the league with silverware in the cabinet, Ross. Absolutely. That would be brilliant, wouldn't it? I mean, if you think about it, start of the season under Michael Beale, how many of us would be expecting to be this close to Celtic and be in a cup final? I don't think any of us would have said that. Treble incoming, hopefully Callum. Brendan ruined the Liverpool team. He certainly did. He got them second, then absolutely balls them up. Absolutely. Cometh the hour, cometh the man. Philippe Clement. There's Philippe Clement. Philippe, I know you love watching the channel. Thanks for coming on board, buddy. Next Sunday is massive for us. Thursday is important, but our team hadn't shipped 4 points to the Dog and Duck, and we wouldn't be in this must situation. You are correct. If we hadn't ballsed it up against Aris, then we wouldn't be in this situation. Shankland would be like Boyd, bought for domestic use mostly. I think that's probably the aim with him, RFC 72. It's like I just said, I think, you know, there's like I said, Chris Boyd, brilliant in the SPL, not so great in Europe. I think that's probably what the same would be with Shankles. Shankles? No, not Shankles. Shankland. Plus a 6-point swing from that VAR shambles at Ibrox. There's Ross, absolutely. I would rather the conference than Europa. There's too much quality in the Europa. Interesting. We'd be scooshing it. We were robbed at Ibrox, says Callum. Mate, like I said, refs hate us. That we all know that refs hate us. Ross Clark says, watch Hearts every week. Shankland's overall play is wildly underrated. He's much more than a goal scorer. To be honest with you, Ross, from what I've seen in the games we've played against him, he does seem to link play very well. He does seem to pass the ball very well. He does seem to have an air of creativity about him. So, yeah, I agree. I think look, putting my colours on the mast, I like Shankland. I think he's a good player. I think he's a goal scorer. And at the end of the day, that's what we need. We need someone who domestically will put the ball back in the net. Robert doesn't want us to talk about Shankland. Like I said, I'll try not to talk about him. But unfortunately, you guys do keep bringing him up. And look, one of the things I pride myself on, when I do a solo podcast, I've got a guest on Tuesday. I'm going to talk about that guest in a minute. When I do a solo podcast, it's more because I want your opinions and your thoughts. And I want to discuss what you think. You know, it's about getting you on and get your opinions. Look, as a channel, I believe that it's all about building a fan community. It's all about building a family, a Rangers family. And I want to involve you in the channel as much as I can by getting your comments on here. And what gets me angry sometimes is I watch all the other Rangers podcasts. I watch them all. Okay. And I've got to say, my favorite podcast, Heart and Hands, brilliant. Forget Heart and Hand. I mean, they're up there. Heart and Hand are up there. But my favourite podcast by a mile, none of the others compare to it, is Club at 22. Love Club at 22. Absolutely brilliant. Alistair, Scotia, Scott Kearney. I love all those guys. They're all brilliant. Big Phil must get them hyped up for the coming month. We win the League Cup. It keeps the pressure on them. It's a lift, isn't it? That's the thing. It's a lift. It's a lift. Ross, are you a brother of Xander at Hearts? Sure am, John. Are you really, Ross? Are you really Xander Clark's brother? Are you really Xander Clark's brother? What a difference having a real manager, though. Direct correlation between that and us starting to be like Rangers again. To think of the millions wasted on project managers and loanees. Kyle, you're spot on. Philippe Clement is a real manager, someone who can, really turn this team round. Absolutely. My dad told me 1 year ago about Bobby Shearer, about a player making his debut. You're nervous, son? Don't worry. When you put on that jersey, they'll be the ones that are nervous. Absolutely. Yeah, I love Rabble as well. Great. Love Rabble. Love listening to Rabble. I've tried collabing with Rabble on a number of occasions, but don't seem to be interested at the moment. But yeah, love Rabble as well. One of the top podcasts. So I love all the podcasts. I listen to all the podcasts. I love every other Saturday pod. I love Heart and Hand. I love Gallant Few. I love all of those. I'm hoping Clement has better players on his radar than Shankland, says Nicholas. In October 1991, Rangers were 7 points behind the unwashed. By the end of the season, we had won a treble. Is history going to repeat itself? I hope so. You and me too. I'm never far off the mark. Thanks, Ian. I do try. Brendan Rodgers about to do the Usain Bolt impersonation. Anything with Rangers FC I love. Absolutely. We all love Rangers FC. Rangers Radio, Rabble, CJ. Oh, yeah, CJ Nova. That's how I want to be. I'd love to be like CJ Nova. I'd love to have as many subs as CJ Nova. Absolutely. Amazing. He's mate also on Rangers Rabble, guys. Hilarious. Yes, shed a womb. Ha ha. You'll sub me on the Rabble, mate. There we go. Ross Clark. Big shout out to you, buddy. Big shout out to you. Big shout out to Rabble as well, guys. Check out Rabble. Ross, it's at 9 o'clock you're on tonight. Check him out at 9 o'clock. I think it's tonight. Agent Xander. I was saying that we could sign Xander when he was coming out of contract at St Johnstone. True. Ross, if you want to come on a podcast with me, drop me an email, buddy. Drop me an email. Email is scrolling along the bottom of the channel now. Yeah, drop me an email, Ross. Would love to have you on, buddy. Drop me an email. I was saying the other day, that one, sorry. Yeah, the Ross Clark, the legend among us, absolutely. Steely Sound 2. Ross Sander, No G, heads up on Shankland. Absolutely. Now, look at this. I want to just promote a few things for this week, guys. I'm going to finish off talking about some of the fixtures coming and that in a moment. But I want to promote a few things that we've got upcoming on the channel this week. So Tuesday night, guys, we've got a podcast, live podcast coming up Tuesday night, 7:35, I think it is. Myself, and I've got a new guest coming on. That is Laura Hatton. Guys, I don't know if you've got TikTok. Check Laura out on TikTok. She's a massive Rangers fan. Loves Glasgow Rangers. Absolutely massive Rangers fan. So Laura Hatton is going to come on. I was watching her the other day on TikTok. I was flicking through TikTok and I've asked a few of the creators on there. I want to get some of the TikTok creators on there because they've got a big following, and I'd love them to get them to get involved with the channel. So Laura is going to be coming on the podcast on Tuesday night and talking all things Rangers. Laura was at the game on Saturday. So yeah, check out Laura Hatton. If you're on TikTok, if you're on TikTok, then have a look. That's Laura's profile on TikTok, which you can't see because I've got that up on the screen. Hang on a minute. Let me pull it off a minute. There you go. That's Laura's profile on TikTok. It's at Laura Hatton. Laura spelled L-O. I'll put it in the live chat. Okay, check her out. She's going to be coming on the podcast on Tuesday. So check her out. Very, very good. Absolutely. At Laura Hatton on TikTok. So if you've got TikTok, have a look at that, guys. Have a look at that. Let's have a look. What else have we got? Ross is hilarious, by the way. Growing up in the 90s, school midweek when Rangers weekends, when school banter with your mates. Absolutely. Trying Scotsman. Do you know what? I'll tell you a funny story about that. I actually asked her, and she did actually put on Twitter, should I go on a Rangers podcast? But she's never got back to me. Look, I know Lana's controversial because of what she does, but she is a massive Rangers fan. And I'd love to just talk football with her. Nothing else, just football with Lana. Absolutely. Sorry, Big Eck from Jersnet is my favourite. True wordsmith with Surely the Bard of the podcast. There you go, Robert. Not a problem, buddy. We all have our favourites. Is Laura not a player? I'm not sure. I'll find out. I'll ask her. Trying Scotsman, that one will be on the hub, mate, not the huge. No, it will not. I am. Look, excuse me, RFC 72. I am a very well-behaved man. Okay, I don't do that sort of thing. Appreciate the Ian bang on, Nicholas. Absolutely. I'm too old for TikTok, unfortunately. John, so am I, buddy. It's the only reason I've got it is because my daughter's said it's what you need to be on, Dad. Don't have crazy talk yet. Great move, Owen. Great exposure. It's about trying to build this channel, guys. I want to build the channel as big as possible. It's 95 people watching tonight on a Sunday night at 8:30. It's fantastic. So please smash that like. But yeah, Ross, drop me an email. Would love to have you on if you're still watching. Graham already follows Laura. Be 20k on the pod Tuesday if Laura's on. Ian, I'd love that, buddy. The views would be amazing if we get that on. She is on. She's coming on. I've already got her. Champions elect 56 incoming. Kyle says Ross Clark, JD, and Scotia. Now it's a podcast. Get them on home, buddy. I will try my very best to get them on. Would love that. Yeah, I chat football as well with Lana. Lol. That's very funny, buddy. Very funny. So that's the first thing. That's Tuesday night, guys. Upcoming Tuesday night podcast with Laura Hatton from TikTok. Then on Thursday night, we've got the live stream of the decider, the Rangers Betis game in Seville. Come and join us for that. Then at the moment, that's the other live that I've got scheduled. Obviously, we will be live streaming the League Cup final here on the channel. A chance to get our hands on silverware, guys. Would love to be celebrating with you on Sunday. Hopefully celebrating, lifting that trophy and really getting a trophy back in the cabinet, guys. Yeah, absolutely. Get Curry and Ross Clark on together. Absolutely. Good shout, Albert's legend. I've been my NFL channel. I'm not doing my NFL channel anymore now. I've got rid of my NFL channel. Thanks, Ross. Thank you for that, buddy. Good to chat, mates. We'll give you a shout. Cheers, Ross. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, this is the way it goes. I used to do loads of NFL stuff for Pittsburgh Steelers, NHL stuff with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I've binned all my other channels off. I am just now doing one channel only, Glasgow Rangers Nation. From now, it is always that's what I'm focusing on 100%. Now there is nothing else I'm focusing on. This is my reason. Everything effort is going into this channel now. I want to make this channel as big as possible and as massive as possible, guys. So we're going to looking at guests. I'm looking at guests. I'm looking at what live streams I can do when I'm not working. Everything else, it's everything spot on. Okay, so that's cool. Trying Scotsman's a Dolphins fan. They're doing really well this season. Trying Scotsman really, really well. Absolutely. Hope so, says Aldo. Absolutely. We are the people, says fantastic Mr. Fox. He loves the Edmonton Oilers, although we all have our sins, haven't we? 49ers fans. Owen, Ross, and Curry on better than Jack and Victor, says Ian. Spot on, buddy. Right, guys. Look, it's going to be a massive week, huge week. So, like I said, loads coming up this week. I'll try my best, buddy. I will try Ross. I said Ross said he'll come on, so that'd be great if he gets Ross on. Get someone to help you out, mate. Expand. You do a lot of work, mate. I'm trying. I'm looking at getting podders on board. Like I said, this channel, I want to build it as big as possible. And I'm going to want eventually to bring on board more people who actually know what they're talking about, people who actually have genuine views on football, who actually understand the game of football and understand Rangers properly. That's who I want to get involved with the channel. Guys, it's been amazing talking Rangers with you tonight. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for everyone who's been involved tonight. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please obviously hit that sub. The ambition is to get to 4K by the 31st of December. We are currently sitting on, what are we sitting on at the moment? Let's have a quick check. We are currently sitting on it's on, I don't know what we're sitting on the moment, 3,885, 3,885. So guys, 115 more subs needed to do it. If you want someone who knows what they're doing, that's no me, says Ross. Mate, You know what you're doing, buddy. You talked some good stuff about Rangers. I was talking about someone else who doesn't know what I'm talking about. Good pod, Owen. Thank you very much. Guys, it's all about you tonight. 100% Blue Nose, right, Alberts? Absolutely. Great pod, Owen. Thank you, George. George, brilliant, mate. Thank you so much. Anyway, guys, tonight, on the way out, if you've not subscribed, please subscribe. There'll be a daily video up tomorrow morning, so look out for that. I'll be at work when the video goes out. Thank you so much for watching tonight. As always, on the way out, 2 things for me, buddies. Guys, Bears. 1, smash that like. Number 2, we are the people. Never forget it.